All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about silver. And when you think of silver, you probably think of jewelry, right? Maybe some old coins. But the truth is, its future is caught in this massive global tug of war. It's stuck right between our green energy dreams and the hard, physical limits of our planet. This is the story of a metal at a major crossroads.
So, to really get what's going on, you first have to understand that silver is kind of living a double life. It's not just a precious metal, a store of value like gold. It is, and this is the key part, a critical, high-performance industrial material.
And this chart really shows you those two faces. Back in 2022, nearly half of all silver demand, a whopping 44%, was for industrial stuff. We're talking about everything from the smartphone in your hand to the solar panels on rooftops. Now, yeah, investment and jewelry still make up the other half, but it's that industrial hunger that is really driving our story today.
Okay, so that brings us to the central conflict here. There's this growing, persistent gap between how much silver we desperately need and how much we can actually get. In the industry, they're calling it a silver squeeze.
Just look at this number. It's wild. In 2023 alone, the world needed 184 million ounces more of silver than all the mines and recycling programs could produce. And this wasn't some one-off bad year, nope. It was the third year in a row with a major shortfall, and that points to a much deeper, more fundamental problem.
And that problem has a name. It's called a structural deficit. This isn't just a blip on the radar. It means the whole equation has flipped. Year in, year out, our global appetite for silver is just flat out bigger than our ability to supply it. This is the new normal for the silver market.
So you have to ask, what's behind this crazy demand? Well, the answer is pretty simple. It's our push towards a green economy. The very technologies that we're counting on to build a sustainable future, they are incredibly thirsty for silver.
Take cars, for example. Your typical electric vehicle, with all its complex electronics and connections, needs almost double the silver of a regular gas-powered car. So every single time an EV rolls off the line, that supply gap gets just a little bit wider.
But honestly, EVs are nothing compared to solar. Just look at this. In only 7 years, the amount of silver needed for solar panels more than doubled, flying past 160 million ounces in 2023. And as the whole world scrambles to build more solar farms, this trend is just hitting the accelerator. Solar's becoming one of the biggest silver consumers on Earth.
So, here it is, the whole tug-of-war on one slide. On one side, you've got these massive forces pulling demand up. Green tech, 5G, all our electronics. But pulling just as hard in the other direction are some serious supply problems. We might have already hit peak silver production. And this is so important. About 70% of silver isn't mined on its own. It's just a byproduct of mining for stuff like copper or lead. That means even if silver prices went to the moon, miners can't just decide to produce a lot more of it.
Now, let's play this out. If we just keep going on the same path, we're not just looking at higher prices. We could be barreling toward a genuine supply crisis, maybe right around the middle of this century.
And that brings us to a question that frankly sounds a little insane at first. What if the demand from just one industry, solar energy, gets so huge that it threatens to eat up almost all of the world's known silver?
This is not some wild guess. This is the conclusion from a major study at the University of New South Wales. Just let that sink in for a second. To meet our climate goals using today's solar technology, we might have to use up almost every bit of known silver reserves in less than 30 years. Our green future is on a direct collision course with geological reality.
So, when you're staring down a potential crisis like that, what on earth do you do? Well, this is where the story takes a turn, from scarcity to some really fascinating, almost sci-fi possibilities. How do we get out of this mess?
It looks like there are three main ways out. First, we could get really good at recycling, creating a totally circular economy where we reuse every last flake of silver from old gadgets. Second, we could innovate our way out of the problem, right? Inventing substitutes like graphene or special copper nanomaterials that can do silver's job. And then there's the third, most ambitious path. We could just go find more, looking to completely new frontiers, like the deep sea floor, or, even mining asteroids in space.
And if you look even further into the future, the possibilities are just wildcards. I mean, can you imagine a future where asteroid mining makes silver as cheap and common as aluminum? Or the opposite, where some new wonder material makes silver totally obsolete?
Maybe it finds a whole new life as a key component for quantum computers or fusion reactors. Its future is anything but certain.
So, let's wrap this up. Silver's future really is one of the great resource puzzles of our time, and it's all defined by this epic battle between our growing needs and a limited supply.
At the end of the day, the story of silver, it's really our story, isn't it? It's a perfect example of humanity's biggest challenge. How do we balance what we need right now with the fact that resources are finite, all while making this huge bet that our own creativity will invent a solution?
And that leaves us with the one big question. Is silver about to become one of the most vital, strategic, and fought-over materials of the 21st century? Or will our own technology make an end run around the problem, leaving silver as just a beautiful, high-tech relic? The answer to that is going to shape the world we all live in.